Hi, good morning. This video is about hope, opportunity, and challenge. 2020 is a number that is full of promise because 2 and 2 is 4 and 4 is stability. 2020 is 2 equals. And yet, even at the start of the year, January, we have seen a lot of challenges at the personal level, national level, global level. Here in the Philippines, we experienced the eruption of Taal volcano. And now, globally, we are experiencing the coronavirus, external difficulties that can speak about what's happening inside, ailments that need to be removed, pains that need to emerge, that need to come out, emotional wounds that need to be healed. There are many ways to go through healing. What I'll be talking about is the 7 stages of spiritual awakening. I also refer to it as the 7 stages of organic transformation. It can be applied to the individual, also in organizations. It is an idea that's based on personal experience. It might be helpful for you at this point. It might not. It might be helpful for somebody that you know. I hope this will help someone out there. Spiritual awakening is an interior journey using the world, the external life as your mirror. It is crossing the bridge from fear to love. A change of perspective that results in very practical benefits for one's life, like getting out of sadness into joy as a new normal. From being overweight to being lean, from having chronic illnesses to being healthy, from seeing yourself as a victim of other people, of situations, to being an empowered individual able to create and be a leader of your own life. Because it's personal, it cuts across religion. It opens your mind to all fields of knowledge. I've noticed the 7 stages as shifts in themes of experiences. And these stages overlap. They build on each other until you're able to integrate them as you move along. Here you'll also see the parallel of the stages in the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus if you're a Catholic or a Christian. Stage 1 is the peak of discontent. This is the stage of disillusionment, of cynicism, a point in life when there is so much sarcasm. The person becomes cynical, a mark of an adult who has gone through the hardships of life and seen the world for what it is. You have thrived, you have done all that you could, and yet happiness seems to be for others. You may experience a little of it, and then it's always back to climbing, to fighting, to longing, to worry, to fear. That seems to be all that life is. And you reach a point that you think you have achieved the best that you could. It could be in your career. It could be in terms of money, in terms of status. You have reached your ambitions and you realize that there's nothing there. It's not what you expected. It's a blah. And you wonder, is this it? You have a sense of an upcoming doom. The way that Jesus knew of his upcoming death. You see him in his triumphant entry into Jerusalem when he was hailed as King of the Jews. And yet not long after, we see him in the Garden of Gethsemane, the agony in the Garden of Gethsemane. So there's that paradoxical experience. In our time, you know that things have to change. Enough is enough. You have reached the peak. In that sense, you are making an intention. That opens the gate to stage 2, which is the fall. The fall is the stage of hopelessness. Change unfolds in a way that destroys the old, everything that you've built up. The major structures of one's life start to fall apart. It could be a breakdown of marriage, a loss of a business, a job, a death of a loved one, a disease, imprisonment, loss of reputation, bankruptcy, and other misfortunes. For those in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, this is midlife crisis. So there are consecutive setbacks that weaken your hold on life. They catch you unprepared. So you have a sense that my world is crumbling. Revelations 18 verse 2 says, He cried out in a loud voice, She has fallen. Great Babylon has fallen. You feel like you are buried alive. You have lost everything that is valuable to you, that's important to your stability. People who have experienced calamities, people who have lost families, who have lost their way of life, their houses. So that's an external experience for the rest of the world that's mirroring to us a fall. And for those in the eye of the experience, it's devastating. We can help physically, but the emotional, spiritual, and psychological journey has to be done individually. And spiritual awakening is one of those ways to recover and to use that experience to renew your entire life, your entire perspective of the world, of yourself. This is similar to the experience of Jesus in the arrest and trial. That sense of abandonment, being disowned, of losing friends, no one to help you but yourself. You're there on your own. In these experiences of tower moments, there are times that even if other people want to help you, they can't. Because there's a part of you that needs to stay there in the experience, to feel everything. But notice that Jesus went through everything. He stood with all dignity and humility. He seemed alone. He looked alone, but he wasn't. It was at that time that he was very much in touch with the spiritual. And it's gonna be the same for us. This is when you will feel very close to God. That's why there's a saying that says, in your weakest, you are strong. The fall is the dying of the ego until it reaches rock bottom. And so at this point, there's no way else but to submit. Even amidst this darkness, there's a little voice in you that is showing you the way. There's a way out. Once you submit, it leads you to the next stage, stage 3. Stage 3 is healing and purging. It is also referred to as the dark night of the soul. It is the narrow gate that many are afraid to walk through. But this is the time of very deep experiences because it is the stage of reclamation. You slide your way through with prayer and meditation. Your memory brings you back to traumas and painful experiences of the past. It feels like a descent to hell. And you come face to face with those suppressed emotions. You know, like the volcano that has held energies for eons and eons, and then it emerges. Like your suppressed emotions, they emerge like giant waves and blows up. You come face to face with your anger, shame, fear, guilt, disappointment, and other forgotten wounds. Those wounds that come from your childhood. They emerge in order to be healed and to be released. So that's why it's a graceful time. You can't do this with your ego. Actually, because of the ego that you have accumulated all this. So ego is dying. It is judgment day. You go through this under grace so that prayer and meditation becomes your boat. It gives you a clarity of mind that opens the way to higher consciousness through your intuition so that forgiveness and letting go becomes possible. It is similar to the experience of Jesus in the way of the cross. You feel persecuted. You feel that you're in darkness. And yet again, you don't feel alone. And that's the only thing that keeps you there, knowing that you're not alone. So there are intense days and rest periods. The more you heal, the more you forgive, the more you let go, the lighter and cleaner you feel. You get to have a feel of what peace of mind is like. You also feel it in your body. The energy flows more freely, and you start to have that sense of wellness. You become excited and you want to start your life over again. That's an intention that leads you to a space that you've never gone before. This is stage 4, which is the period of self-love. Stage 4, self-love, is the stage of liberation of the soul. The ego is awakened with the presence of soul, with the embrace of soul. And when you're awakened, soul says, I love you. And you know it's not the usual you, because you have been used to criticizing yourself, putting yourself down, all those negative thoughts. That's not ego. That's your soul saying, I love you. That's the unconditional love. Finally, you meet you, the infinite soul, the spark of God. Ego, the personality that you've known yourself to be, meets soul. You have this feeling, there you are, I have been searching for you. And soul responds, I have been waiting for you. There are thousands of people around the world who are in this journey right now. But many are also finding it hard to transition into self-love because of what they've learned from society, that self-love is selfishness. And yet Jesus says, the kingdom is within. And so self-love is crucial to entering the kingdom. What's fun about this stage is that you get to discover talents that were just snippets during your past, but now it comes rushing out. Here's a poem that came out in minutes, which felt like soul was speaking. It was written through automatic writing. It's called Beloved. I am so happy, happy as can be. When you smile, my heart warms. In your embrace, take my hand, we fly by night to see the sunlight in another world. You're overwhelmed, I know you are, to see grandeur in all expanse. When you were small, I watched you play, laughing with you in your gay. I touched your face as your playmate did. It was me, you see. Here we are with no more secrets. You know me as I know you. We are one, you and I. Let's bask in this beautiful world. I thank you as you thank me, for I am in you as you are in me. It is all that's ever been. I have published my first book of poems called Whispers of Unconditional Love. That's now on Amazon. So this liberation of the soul with an awakened ego, this is the resurrection. As Jesus was brought to life by the energy of love, we are healed and energized by that same love. So stage 4 is a beautiful stage, and you want to stay there. In this state of joy and contentment, the ambitions of previous years are no longer that attractive. So what's the purpose of life? You start asking, what am I here for? You're asking soul, what are you here for? That intention leads you to stage 5, which is life purpose. Stage 5 is life purpose. It is the time of remembering. You start asking yourself, talking to yourself. Ego and soul are speaking to each other more and more. You ask, what is my life purpose then? You're asking your soul to lead. And in doing so, the experiences of your life, the good and the bad, your tendencies, your personality, your talents, they all make sense. And you see what you're meant to do. You're able to connect the dots of your experiences. You understand why you have such a pattern in your life. So you are convinced of what you are about. You are sure. It's like soul revealing your vision of life. You're remembering what you came here for. Just as Jesus was very convinced of
bringing out the good news, we are also very convinced of our life purpose. And so that sense of having the authority given from heaven and earth.
This is the good news, that there is life after death. It's a rebirth. That's where spiritual awakening is for. It's leading us to new life, from fear to love, from sadness to joy, from hell to the kingdom. As you think more and more about this new life, it leads you to another stage, which is stage 6.
The 6th stage is heaven on earth. This is the time when ego has committed completely to the purpose of soul. Ego and soul are one. I call this marriage. There's commitment, which is similar to Jesus ascending to heaven. This is us going into another dimension. We're no longer operating from the level of ego. We're now operating from the level of soul, and yet still with the body. So heaven and earth are one.
In this rebuilding, your house is built on rock, because the stability comes from within. There will still be challenges, but you are now standing from a stronger and more loving and compassionate place. That changes the game. There's the 7th stage, a time of being the new you, similar to the second coming of Jesus. In our time, this is our emergence, our second chance at life, with a different mind that's one with your heart, and the body that's ready to love and to express yourself in all your authenticity. You are comfortable in your own skin, whether man or woman. You're in touch with the masculine and the feminine in you. The question is, how would you like your life to be in the next decades to come? Knowing that you have the tools, you have the power to choose your thoughts and your feelings at any given moment. It's no longer about the destination, but it's every moment that you're able to live, create, and enjoy to the fullest. It's when you create new ways of doing things, responding to the world, responding to problems, one that is inspired by soul. This is the promise for all, not just for a few, not just for the religious, not just for saints. You have completed a cycle without the physical death. You are happy at the level of soul. Nothing can change that. No one can take it away from you.